Okay, I want to give an update of what's happening. So I tried to leave the country twice. I was not allowed. There is a border alert that doesn't allow me to leave Australia. I feel double kidnapped because remember the first time that I was kidnapped was when I was about to go to Europe, and then they start to use the V2 key technology voices, and, and that's why I end up in the hospital. But this is done through technological means, as I say before. Now I want to show you the complaints that I have placed and how these complaints also have been rejected. So it is one that I did to the Australian Federal Police. So I say I have experienced what the literature calls attacks with weapons of mass disruption. These weapons of mass disruption are the same as neuroweapons, are the same that cause the phenomenon of target individuals, is the same technology that causes Havana syndrome. It is a mix of AI with swarm technology, and they are not only weapons of mass disruption, also they are called direct energy weapons, etc. I say involving advanced neurotechnology and constituting cybercrime against an individual. So this is cybercrime because the word cyber implies the movement of information. So when they attack the brain, this is technically a cybercrime, or this is we are talking about cybernetics, or we are talking about hacking, or because this is about hacking a neurological system too. These systematic and prolonged attacks, because there had been systematically. Remember, the first attack that I received was in 2013 when I was 23 years old. They start to do remote electroshocks. This is what I say here. In 2017, when I was about to go to Slovenia with my ex-girlfriend, then this intensified. They use electromagnetic means to intrusively manipulate and monitoring my neurological and nervous system. Why? Because as many target individuals, you notice that the voices of what the voices and the sensation and pain that happens in your body happens as you are thinking and depending on what you are thinking. So let's say when I was thinking to do this video, I start to experience pain in this middle finger. So, and then this is the kind of situations that I get as a confirmation that there is technology and this happens daily. So the core of these attacks is brain hacking and surveillance. And this is true. There are, let's say, technologies like the N3, next generation non-chirurgical neurotechnology. And this is technically the control of means by your mind. Look, this channel is capable of specifically interacting with submillimeter regions of the brain with a spatial and temporal specificity that rivals existing invasive approaches. This is a non-invasive approach, and this means that this technology can deal with specific parts of your brain, specific stems of your brain, and then recreate thoughts, insert thoughts, And this is about inserting images, voices, and also taking tissue and swallow that tissue, etc. So the technology allows for real-time decoding and manipulation of my thoughts, memory, and emotions. The technology is not 100% accurate because it has to perceive the neural waves of your brain, then it has to decode them using AI. But what it does with a lot of precision is the inducement of anger. You feel that your brain will have like as if they turn on a dial in which you will feel anger, a dial in which you will have fear or a kind of extreme anxiousness. This feels like having PTSD, and I experienced that for a while, but I have no diagnosis of PTSD, and since I know that these are neuroweapons, I understand that that fear is limited, so I never have succumbed to that fear. The libido is just like in the movie The Matrix, in that scene in which they are eating and the girl that is eating on the table is stimulated in the clitoris by one of the guys there, and then it goes to the bathroom and have sex with the guy. Is technically the same. They can stimulate your genitals. They can induce hunger. They induce hunger for 5 years. Lethargy. This is one of the most difficult ones to deal with, because if they want to put you to sleep in a split of a second, you will just fall to the ground. So there are many situations in which they use this technology. I know that is beyond the experimental phase. Most of this technology, if they were doing experiments, could have been done with consent. Most of this stuff most of the stuff that I experienced could have been done with consent, but that's why I know that is beyond the experimental phase. So, okay, this is to achieve non-invasively, often utilizing infrastructure like 5G. 5G is very precise for this kind of technology, but you could use Wi-Fi to, let's say, if you recreate something that is electromagnetic phenomenon called the quadruple traps, yeah, then you can create a stimulation in the ions in one specific point in the space. And this is the same kind of technology that it is used for the fission technology cores for creating energy. And these fission core generators also need AI in order to capture whatever they want to keep energetically. But this is the same. This is the kind of technology that they will use to create aneurysms. Yeah, and James Giordano has saying in many of his videos that neuroweapons can create aneurysms. So this captured the electrobiological fingerprints of my brain. The perpetrator appears to possess a precise map of my brain. And this is because they did the first thing that they can induce without having a scanner is voice to school technology. So it's easy to place voices in the head of anyone. You don't need a scanner of the brain, because there are many means in which simply you could pinpoint the nervous, the hearing nervous circuits without need to access your brain. Once they send you to the hospital, they take your MRIs, and those MRIs help them to apply other different complicated techniques. So yeah, I talk about this technology, voices to a skull. I sent this report. I say that this is very likely what causes the Bondi Junction massacre, in which one guy who supposedly had schizophrenia attacked, like, I don't know, 6 people died or something like that in Bondi Junction. They were all attacked with a knife. I have experienced situations in which they send me images of knives. Yeah, so it's like if they know when I take my medication, when I don't take it, and then depending on they will send images of knives, etc. The social media algorithm changes totally as well. So that's why I know that if Australia doesn't have any control of this social media, then there is an involvement of the United States, plus probably the cooperation with some enforcement bodies. I don't know if there is the Australian Army, but then there is a situation in which there is 100% assurance that they have to use local infrastructure. And this is because the precision of the things that I have experienced only can be used with local infrastructure. They cannot use satellites. It's possible that this technology can be used with satellites, as happened to John McAfee, in which he was in an island and he will be attacked. But for precision of toe inserting, for precision, having a map already of your brain, and trying to, let's say, change the words in your mouth, or trying to insert words, or trying to do more complicated kind of mind control, in which they will try to precisely induce an image, etc. That requires local infrastructure. So then, yeah, in a situation in which not many of the legal bodies of Australia know what's going on specifically, and when I send these complaints, they send me to the hospital. But as you can see, I'm someone who is reasonable. I'm not screaming like a crazy person. I'm not doing anything violent. I'm not doing anything that will harm me or harm the others. So I'm afraid, because this is part of what dehumanizes, and this technology is addictive to power. And as long as this technology appears covered, there is always the possibility of human enslavement. If there is the possibility of human enslavement through these covered means, but in the age of AI, it should be clear that this is not science fiction, but this is more. Okay, I want to show you a video in which James Giordano, who works for DARPA and the United States Army, and he has published hundreds of papers. I want to show you what he says about it.
To be able to interpret neuroimaging patterns and signals. So what we're able to do is we're able to reconstruct various visual stimuli, auditory stimuli, tactile stimuli that an individual is exposed to or is feeling based upon a pattern reconstruction of a neuroimage of their brain, a very sophisticated form of neuroimaging that utilizes functional MR, functional magnetic resonance imaging, together with various types of track tracing. And from that, we can utilize AI and other forms of integrative machine learning based upon hierarchical data integration to essentially re-engineer what the brain is interpreting from this individual sensory input. That's still very rudimentary. But again, we've been doing this work for about 20 years. So rudimentary as it may be, it's had a 20-year history of iterative development and is becoming more capable. That's point number one. The limitation there, of course, is that you still have to put the individual into a neuroimaging scanner. So this cannot be done clandestinely or covertly. You have to put the individual into the scanner, number one. And number two, it requires serial evaluation. So it's not a one-shot scan and then you're able to completely reconstruct a relative pattern of this brain activity, and from that reverse sort of instruct or reverse create what this individual's sensorium was at the time of the image. There's an awful lot of software, hardware, and blood, sweat, and toil, so to speak, that go into that. So this cannot be done clandestinely or covertly. That's number one. The other approach that I think is showing, considerable progress is the use of very, very small scale sensors and transmitters that can be input to the brain non-surgically. And this is a current DARPA project, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency project, that is referred to as N-Cubed, which which refers to next generation, non-invasive or minimally invasive neuromodulation. And it involves the use of neuroengineered sensors and transmitters that can be introduced to the brain space non-surgically, either via inhalation, injection, ingestion, absorption through a mucous membrane. Refers to next generation, non-invasive or minimally invasive neuromodulation. And it involves the use of neuroengineered sensors and transmitters that can be introduced to the brain space non-surgically, either via inhalation, injection, ingestion, absorption through a mucous membrane, migrated into the brain space, utilizing some form of magnetic current due to the particular properties of these nanoengineered materials. And then utilizing this migrational pattern to form a relatively vast array of sensors and transmitters within the brain that allow real-time reading of information from the brain and writing of information to the brain remotely. Now, this